Let me start by asking you something powerful. Have you ever met someone who arrived at a moment that made no logical sense yet felt undeniably right? Not convenient, not planned, but deep, grounding, and unforgettable. That's not confusion. That's transformation knocking on your door. Today, we're talking about when true love arrives at what the mind calls the wrong time, but what life calls destiny. Timing is not the same as readiness, and this is one of the most misunderstood lessons in love and life. Most people believe that if something arrives at the wrong time, it must be wrong altogether. But readiness is an internal state, while timing is an external condition. Life does not wait for perfect circumstances. It responds to who you are becoming. True love often appears not when your schedule is clear, but when your soul is ready to grow. This is not an accident. It is an educational moment designed to stretch your awareness, your emotional intelligence, and your sense of responsibility. Readiness means you are capable of learning, not that you are finished learning. When true love arrives during uncertainty, transition, or even chaos, it reveals where you are strong and where you still need to evolve. You begin to see your patterns clearly, how you communicate, how you handle fear, how you... This kind of love doesn't comfort the ego, it educates the heart. It forces you to ask better questions instead of chasing easy answers. Many people walk away from destiny because they confuse discomfort with danger. Grow feels uncomfortable because it requires you to leave old identities behind. When love shows up early, it often exposes unfinished business within you, unhealed wounds, limiting beliefs, or emotional habits that no longer serve you. This is not punishment, it is preparation. Life introduces the lesson before the reward, so that when the reward arrives, you are capable of sustaining it. Readiness also means responsibility. True love at an unexpected time teaches you that emotions alone are not enough. You must learn patience, self-control, honesty, and accountability. You discover that love is not just about feeling connected, but about choosing growth even when it's hard. Education in love comes from experience, reflection, and conscious action, not from fantasy or impulse. When you understand this, you stop asking, "Why now?" and start asking, "Who am I becoming because of this?" That shift changes everything. You realize that timing does not define destiny, development does. Some connections arrive to stay, others arrive to teach, but both serve a purpose in your evolution. True love is not late or early, it is precise. If you are willing to learn, to grow, and to rise to the level this connection demands, then the timing was never wrong. It was simply calling you forward. When true love arrives at what feels like the wrong time, one of the most powerful lessons it brings is this: timing is not the same as readiness. Readiness is internal. Timing is external. You can have your life organized on paper and still be emotionally unavailable, or you can be in the middle of chaos and be deeply prepared to love with honesty, awareness, and courage. Destiny does not wait for perfect conditions. It responds to inner growth. When a meaningful connection shows up during uncertainty, it is often because your soul is ready to learn something essential. This kind of love reveals where you are still holding fear, where you are still healing, and where you are capable of expansion. Education through love is not about ease. It is about evolution. If the connection pushes you to communicate better, reflect deeper, and take responsibility for your emotional patterns, then its arrival is not a mistake. It is an invitation to mature. Grow rarely happens in comfort. It happens when life stretches you beyond who you were, so you can step into who you are becoming. Another sign of destiny-driven love is that it challenges your comfort zones instead of fitting neatly into your plans. Comfortable love feels familiar. Transformational love feels awakening. When love arrives at an inconvenient moment, it often exposes the difference between what you planned and what you truly need. This type of connection does not ask you to abandon your life, but it does ask you to question your limitations. Why do you believe it is the wrong time? Is it because of real values, or is it because of fear of vulnerability, loss, or change? Educational growth requires honest self-inquiry. Destiny uses relationships to reveal blind spots and emotional habits that logic alone cannot teach. True love that challenges you will not distract you from your purpose. It will refine it. It encourages boundaries, patience, and self-respect rather than impulsive attachment. Even if the relationship does not immediately become permanent, its impact is lasting because it elevates your standards and awareness. When love makes you braver, more conscious, and more aligned with your values, it is not working against your life. It is working within it, shaping you into someone capable of deeper connection and wiser choices. This is how destiny teaches quietly, powerfully, and exactly when you are ready to learn. True love arriving at an unexpected time is not a mistake of life. It is a strategy of growth. When a powerful connection enters your life before everything feels ready, it is often because readiness is built through experience, not preparation. Education teaches us that real learning happens in real situations, not in theory. In the same way, destiny introduces love when it can stretch your emotional intelligence, strengthen your self-awareness, and expose the gaps that still need healing. This kind of love does not arrive to complete you, but to reveal you. It highlights unresolved patterns, challenges old beliefs about timing and control, and invites you to mature emotionally. The lesson here is clear. Timing that feels wrong externally may be perfectly designed internally to accelerate your growth and teach you how to love with responsibility, not fantasy. Another powerful keynote is that destiny-driven love prioritizes alignment over convenience. When love is real, it does not depend on ideal circumstances, social approval, or perfect conditions. Instead, it is marked by emotional clarity, mutual respect, and shared values, even when life feels complicated. Educationally speaking, alignment is a deeper metric than comfort. Comfort keeps you the same, but alignment helps you evolve. This type of love encourages honest communication, accountability, and emotional discipline. You begin to make better decisions, not reckless ones. You learn how to balance feeling with wisdom. That is a sign that the connection is not a distraction, but a developmental force. Destiny teaches through contrast, showing you that what matters most is not when love happens, but how it shapes your character while it exists. Finally, true love that arrives at the wrong time teaches patience and self-mastery rather than impulsive attachment. Not every destined connection is meant to be rushed into a final outcome. Some are meant to prepare you, refine you, and raise your standards. From an educational perspective, this is delayed gratification at its highest level. You learn to honor emotions without being ruled by them. You learn to grow individually while staying emotionally aware. This kind of love asks you to become stronger, wiser, and more grounded before demanding commitment. Destiny is not about instant reward. It is about long-term transformation. When love helps you become more conscious, more disciplined, and more aligned with your values, it is not early or late. It is right on time, shaping you into the person you need to be for the future you are meant to live. True love arriving at the wrong time is often a test of readiness, not a mistake. Life has a way of introducing powerful connections before we feel prepared, because preparation is not something that happens in isolation. Growth is activated by challenge. When love shows up early, it exposes emotional habits, unhealed wounds, and limiting beliefs that comfort would never reveal. This is education through experience. You begin to learn what you truly value, how you communicate under pressure, and whether you lead with fear or awareness. What feels like bad timing is often life accelerating your evolution. Another key truth is that destiny disrupts patterns, not peace. True love doesn't necessarily bring instant calm, it brings clarity. It interrupts cycles of settling, avoiding, or repeating the same emotional mistakes. This disruption can feel uncomfortable because the mind prefers familiarity, even when familiarity is harmful. But educational growth never comes from repeating old lessons. When a connection forces you to question your choices, raise your standards, and confront your emotional boundaries, it is not there to break you. It is there to teach you who you are becoming. Emotional alignment matters more than external circumstances. Jobs, distance, responsibilities, and timing can change, but values and character shape outcomes. When two people meet at a challenging time yet share honesty, respect, and mutual growth, that connection holds instructional value. It teaches patience, emotional intelligence, and conscious decision-making. Love that is destiny-driven doesn't encourage impulsiveness. It encourages responsibility. You learn to slow down, communicate clearly, and choose integrity over impulse. These skills are not optional for lasting love, they are foundational. Finally, resistance is often a sign of fear, not wrongness. The ego resists what it cannot control, and true love threatens old identities. When you feel the urge to pull away while simultaneously feeling deeply seen, it signals transformation. Education happens when you learn to observe fear without letting it decide for you. Destiny does not demand immediate action, it invites awareness. Some connections are meant to stay, others to teach, but all are meant to elevate. When love pushes you to become more conscious, more grounded, and more accountable, it is never a waste of time. It is life refining you for what comes next. When true love appears at an unexpected moment, the first lesson is understanding that timing and readiness are not the same thing. Life may look unprepared on the surface, yet internally you may be more ready than you realize. Education teaches us that growth often happens before we feel prepared, not after. Destiny does not wait for perfect conditions. It creates conditions that force emotional maturity, self-awareness, and conscious decision-making. What feels inconvenient may actually be an invitation to evolve. Another powerful sign is disruption that leads to clarity, not confusion. True love at the wrong time does not destroy focus, it sharpens it. It exposes what truly matters and what has been noise. Instead of draining your energy, it teaches you how to manage it wisely. This type of connection encourages reflection, emotional intelligence, and better communication. The mind may resist change, but the heart recognizes alignment, creating an opportunity to learn balance between logic and intuition. A third keynote is accelerated personal growth. Destiny-driven love does not allow stagnation. It pushes you to face unresolved fears, heal past wounds, and upgrade your standards. You become more accountable for your actions and more intentional with your choices. Educationally, this is growth under pressure, where emotional development happens faster because the stakes feel real. This kind of love is not about losing yourself, but about becoming more fully yourself. Another sign is emotional honesty paired with internal resistance. Feeling fear does not mean something is wrong. It often means something meaningful is happening. Education helps us recognize that resistance is frequently the ego protecting all. True love challenges those patterns by demanding vulnerability, presence, and courage. When recognition runs deeper than fear, it signals a connection that exists to teach profound life lessons rather than provide temporary comfort. Finally, destiny reveals itself through consistency of values, not perfection of circumstances. When respect, integrity, emotional safety, and shared principles remain strong despite external challenges, the connection carries long-term significance. Time may feel misaligned, but character is not. Educationally, this teaches discernment, learning to evaluate relationships based on substance rather than situation. True love at the wrong time often arrives not to stay immediately, but to prepare you for a higher version of life and love. Timing and readiness are not the same thing, and this is one of the most important lessons destiny teaches through love. Many people believe that if love were truly meant to happen, everything would already be perfectly arranged. In reality, life often introduces meaningful connections before we feel prepared. This gap is intentional. It exposes the areas where growth is still required. True love arriving at an unexpected moment is not a mistake. It is an invitation to evolve emotionally, mentally, and spiritually so that you can eventually sustain what you desire. True love rarely fits neatly into comfort zones. Instead of adapting to your existing plans, it challenges them. It may appear when routines feel safe or when future paths seem already decided. This kind of love forces reflection and choice. It asks whether you are living on autopilot or consciously shaping your life. When love disrupts comfort without destroying inner peace, it signals purpose. Destiny stretches you before it settles you. Emotional alignment matters far more than external circumstances. Jobs, distance, timing, and responsibilities can change, but emotional truth cannot be faked for long. When love is real, communication becomes honest, respect becomes natural, and understanding deepens even during uncertainty. Emotional alignment creates a sense of grounding rather than chaos. Education in relationships begins when you learn to recognize emotional safety and mutual growth as stronger indicators than perfect conditions. Resistance is often misunderstood as a warning sign, when in fact, it is frequently a sign of fear. Fear of vulnerability, fear of change, or fear of repeating past pain can masquerade as logic. When a connection feels right yet triggers internal hesitation, it is worth examining what you are protecting yourself from. Destiny often challenges old survival patterns. Growth requires unlearning defenses that once served you but now limit your capacity to receive love. Periods of personal growth often come before lasting union. Sometimes true love arrives not to stay immediately, but to awaken awareness. It reveals what needs healing, what standards must rise, and what boundaries must be respected. These connections act as mirrors, reflecting both strengths and unresolved wounds. Education through love is not always comfortable, but it is deeply transformative when embraced consciously. Destiny communicates through patterns rather than coincidences. Repeated encounters, meaningful conversations, shared values, and aligned intentions are signals that deserve attention. When life keeps bringing the same themes, emotions, or lessons through one connection, it is rarely accidental. Destiny does not rush, but it is persistent. It guides patiently, waiting for you to recognize what is being taught and who you are becoming through the experience. When true love arrives at what seems like the wrong time, the question is not whether it should exist, but what it is here to teach. Grow. Awareness and integrity turn timing into wisdom, and wisdom turns destiny into choice.